It's that time once again for another SH Figuarts My Hero Academia review. And, well, you might be asking, I just did my Toga review. Why am I doing another My Hero review? Well, because I got bored waiting for the Bomb Devil and the Armored Titan to get here, and I had the money for it, so I decided to pick up another figure. And that, of course, being Deku from My Hero Academia, of course. I've been wanting to get this figure for a long time, even before I started watching the show. But obviously I got Toga first for literally no reason. But, you know, I have Deku now. One thing that kind of sucks, though, is I did have to pay a Amazon aftermarket price. So I paid way too much, being like over $100. Which kind of sucks because the figure retailed for like 70-ish. But you know what? We got the figure in hand, we might as well just enjoy it. One thing to note is that my figure did come in this kind of plastic protection, I guess, but it still is a little dented on the front, which is a little unfortunate in the box, but the figure in the inside should be fine. Getting the box out of the packaging, and you can see all the nice detailing the box has. I personally love the look for the box. I know some people said they don't like it, but I think I do. Starting off, you can see there's a window showing off the figure and some of its accessories, the SH Figuarts logo, and a nice little logo showing off, you know, Deku's name in a really cool looking font. Promotional image of the figure, and the Hamashi quality sticker and the Bandai logos. Here's the top, bottom, and both sides of the box, and the back just has more promotional images of the figure. And taking the figure out of the packaging, you can see that his accessory tray is honestly pretty full. I really can't see where they could fit any more accessories into this, and I think you're pretty much getting what you're paying for with the accessory spread. Now that we have the figure out of the box, it's time to take a good look at everything he comes with. Getting a little overview, you can see that Deku actually has a very solid accessory spread, and taking a closer look, you can see everything he comes with. He has 3 swapped out face plates, 2 swapped out hair pieces, 1 cape accessory, 2 pairs of swapped out hands, and 1 black whip hand. And a quick little look at the figure in museum pose, he also looks very, very clean as well. Before we take a look at the details of the figure, we are going to plug in his little cape accessory, which does simply plug in just like that, and it just overall completes the look of the figure. And diving deeper into Deku's look, I think this perfectly captures his look from season 7 of the show, and it just looks absolutely amazing. Taking an even closer look, you can see on his back, he does have the hood that he literally wears like 2 times in the entire show, but at least the detail's there. Talking about Deku's likeness, and I think the look absolutely nails his design from the show, and it completely mogs the Rebel Tech. It looks amazing. His face sculpt is perfect, and the printing looks absolutely great. And continuing to look at the rest of the figure, you can just see his details of every single part of his outfit were accounted for, and they look amazing. Like, even down to the shoes, they just look exactly like how they did in the anime. I did want to touch on the cape that he has real fast, the one he gets from Gran Torino. I think it looks fine, honestly. I mean, it's such a small piece. I don't really think it needed to be any soft goods. I think the hard plastic works, and you can still get it in dynamic enough poses, you know, and it looks fine. Moving into articulation, Deku gets pretty good range in his head despite having that thing. He looks up that far, down that far, and he gets pretty decent tilt, though it is kind of blocked by his little neck scarf. And all around good tilt. The cape itself is just on one single little ball hinge, so whatever like that, you know, joint gives you, that's the range you're going to get. The arms do have a pretty good shoulder system, and they can get decently far up, a good bit past 90, I'd say. And they can move down, obviously, all the way. They can get a full 360, though I didn't feel like pushing it. My joint feels a little tight on this figure, but they can go full 360. The crossover isn't the greatest, but it's not horrible. As you can see, his arms can kind of go that far forwards, and they do get a decent bit backwards, but the arm cuffs do kind of get in the way, which is the only reason why he can't really cross over too much. Same with the cape. Anyways, he does have a bicep swivel and a swivel at the shoulder, double jointed elbows, which do get pretty good range despite those really thick arm cuffs. And he has rotation, or more of just a ball socket at the actual cuff, and then a standard Figuarts wrist peg. Moving on to the body, you can see that he has 2 joints, one at the diaphragm, which does get about that much crunch forwards, which isn't the greatest, but he does get a pretty good crunch backwards. He also has a little bit of tilt at that joint, and it can also swivel. But keep in mind, the waist joint pops off a lot. That is one problem with this figure that I have. But as you can see, the tilt and the all-around rocker and swivel on that diaphragm joint isn't the worst, but it will also pop off. Moving down to the waist, you can see his total crunch forwards is actually pretty decent for what it is, and his crunch backwards is also pretty great as well. You can see that he gets a little bit of tilt, not the greatest, could be better, but again, it's gonna pop off every single time you move that joint because the joint style is actually pushed forwards instead of sticking straight up. And for some reason, they did that. I'm not sure why, but it's only on the re-release. And when you do that, when you rotate, it just pops off. It's really annoying to deal with, but at least the figure is not breaking, so I can't really complain too much about that. That belt piece obviously is a floating part, and it just sticks between the two joint pieces. Moving on to the legs, you can see that they kick about that far forwards, which is just about 90. It's pretty good range. That far backwards, which isn't the worst. And a pretty decent split, actually. I'd say about 180-degree split. It does have a thigh swivel and double jointed knees, which do get pretty good range, actually. As you can see while filming this, though, this knee piece did pop off, and it has stayed popping off, which I will say is pretty annoying. So, yeah, as we're going to get back into it, you can see he does get double jointed knees, but that knee part, it's loose and it's not even glued in. It's the same for both knees, but that one is particularly loose itself, which is quite annoying, I'm gonna say. The ankles can move forwards about that far and back that far. They also have a really good ankle rocker, which will allow for some good posing and obviously a toe pivot. Overall, I think we can agree that Deku does have some very good articulation, but I do have a few issues with the figure, which I'm going to showcase right now. So the main problems I actually have aren't with the articulation, but more of the joint tightness. As you can see, this knee, super loose. I mean, it can't even support the figure. Like, this joint, loose as hell. And the ankles, they don't feel that loose, but they are kind of loose. And it's not like I don't think the figure can not support itself, because it still feels like it can hit some pretty good dynamic posing and still support its own weight. But these loose joints can be quite annoying, and this knee is just such a problem for me. I'm gonna have to glue this in myself. It's annoying as hell. Now we're gonna take a look at all Deku's accessories. By default, he has this kind of stern resting face, this excited kind of smiling face, this angry expression, and this yelling kind of one-for-all expression. Deku also has this other hair piece, which has the one-for-all beaming out of his eyes and his hair kind of pushed back because of the wind. And I think it looks absolutely amazing because it just really captures what we saw in the show, and it's a great way to show that. It also works with all of his other faces, as you see here. Finally, he has this windswept bang piece. By default, Deku has two fisted hands, which look great all around, two kind of open hands, and then two blasting hands. Finally, for hands, Deku does come with this one black whip hand, which I do think it looks pretty good, and the gradient from the black to the blue looks nice, but I wish we got one for each hand, and I kind of wish you could have it go the other direction. Deku does have a DLC accessory pack, which is really good, but because of the aftermarket prices, I will not be purchasing it. But it does include two Air Force hands, so the kind of little flick he does, and a bunch of the all-for-one just lightning accessories, which is really cool, and also two speech bubbles that say the word smash. So for my substitute, I do have these lightning effects from the Blocky's Thor, which for them being the wrong color, I think they still do elevate the figure enough and kind of give the effect that I'm going for. Now, to conclude my final thoughts on the figure, I think honestly this is the best Deku figure currently on the market. Now, Black Whip Deku did just release recently, but personally, if you just want regular Deku in his outfit, I think this is perfect, and it's just better than the Rebel Tick pretty much in every single way, besides not coming with accessories. As you can see, the figure poses amazing, and it looks just like Deku in all of his poses, and it just aesthetically, it's beautiful. I love the figure, and I couldn't be happier with it. Obviously, I'm a little upset that I had to pay the price I did for it, but, you know, it could be a little bit better, and if I wanted to, I could always buy that accessory kit. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Goodbye.